Once upon a time, deep in a faraway swamp, there lived a grumpy green ogre named Shrek. He liked his swamp just the way it was, muddy, messy, and completely, utterly his own. He liked his life just the way it was, quiet, solitary, and full of long mud baths. In other words, Shrek was a happy ogre despite, or maybe because of, how ugly he was. One day, Shrek's peaceful world was turned upside down. That's when countless fairy tale creatures showed up in his swamp, all banished there by the short and power-hungry ruler Lord Farquaad. See, Farquaad wanted to get married and have a baby so he could become king. But to do that, he needed a princess. And he didn't want any of those happily ever after types. So he banished all the magical folk from his kingdom, including the three little pigs, Pinocchio, the gingerbread man, and even a big bad fire-breathing dragon. They all piled into Shrek's swamp, which was now officially the worst-kept swamp in all the land. Furious about the loss of his privacy, Shrek stomped over to Farquaad's castle and demanded his swamp back. But when Farquaad refused, Shrek had only one option: break into the highest tower of the tallest castle in the land and rescue Princess Fiona so Farquaad could marry her. And really, it wasn't such a bad plan. Shrek climbed into the tower, battled a couple of guards, and made it to the top just in time to save Princess Fiona from a dragon. Except instead of a beautiful human princess, Shrek found a grumpy ogre princess with a serious attitude problem. But Shrek had already made plans for her. So he carried her to Farquaad, got his swamp back, and took a nice long mud bath. Only problem was, Fiona was pretty annoyed about being rescued by an ogre. All she wanted was a handsome prince to sweep her off her feet and take her out for dinner, maybe see a show, maybe a little romance. But no, instead she got dumped off by an ogre who looked at her like she was a sack of potatoes. On the plus side, Shrek and Fiona had a lot in common. They were both strong, funny, and not at all what people expected them to be. And while Fiona might have started out hating her rescuer, she couldn't help but warming up to him during their journey back to Farquaad's castle. Shrek had never had a friend before, let alone a beautiful princess who liked hanging out with an ogre. As the sun began to set, Shrek and Fiona grew closer and closer, until suddenly the sky turned green and Fiona cried out. Her curse was almost complete. Shrek stopped her by smashing a nearby television, revealing his true feelings, only to find that Fiona was actually an ogre princess, too. She explained that every night at sunset she turned into her true ogre self, and would remain that way until a handsome prince broke her curse with a kiss. Only there was one teeny tiny problem. Shrek wasn't exactly what Fiona had in mind when she dreamed of a prince, and to make things worse, her curse stated the kiss had to happen before sunrise. So, as a last resort, she tried kissing Shrek, only for the kiss to turn her back into an ogre. Apparently, true love's kiss wasn't so easy to pull off. A misunderstanding made Shrek think Fiona didn't like him, so he delivered her to Farquaad, who, surprise, surprise, turned out to be a short, chubby, insecure manlet with a sick addiction to power. He married Fiona, only for her to turn into an ogre right in front of everyone. Shrek burst through the door, interrupting the wedding, and confessed his undying love for Fiona, prompting her to break her curse once and for all. You see, true love's kiss didn't refer to a kiss from a handsome prince, but rather a kiss from someone you truly loved, which in this case happened to be an ogre. Fiona turned back into an ogre, revealing that Shrek had been right about her all along. She was strong, confident, and pretty too, if you ask him. Despite her appearance, they married each other in the swamp, surrounded by all their fairy tale friends. And Shrek finally learned that true beauty comes from love, not looks, and that sometimes the loudest, messiest, most unconventional life can be the best life of all. The end.